All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. I see people just pouring in. The masses are pouring in, Maddie. We're very excited. We're going to have a good time today. I see lots of franchise friends and some new names as well. And we'll go ahead and get started. So today we're going to dive into building a winning local franchise marketing program in 2022. So just to tell you a little bit about ourselves, maybe we should introduce each other, Maddie. That would be kind of a fun unplanned, unplanned excursion. So Maddie and I work at Netsertive. I'm the director of demand generation and been here almost 3 years now. And if you're not familiar with Netsertive, we run local digital advertising and marketing programs for multi-location brands and franchises. Maddie, you have an interesting background. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
First of all, Jason and I have a love-hate relationship. It's very much brother-sister vibe. So you're gonna get a lot of that on this. So previous to I'm the director of marketing here. Previous to my role here, I worked for about 7 years at Threshold Brands as in their marketing manager, director of marketing. So worked with a whole bunch of different service brands, understand the franchise space, both consumer and fran dev very, very well. And me and my fiance also own about 10 Made Pros and a couple of other service franchises as well. So have seen it from the franchisee side, the supplier side, and also the franchisor side. So excited to share some knowledge with you guys.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Dwan, GAC. You know what that means. Had to give a shout out to my boy.
Dwan here. Dwan is here. Dwan is our best marketing customer. He's always everywhere we are online. So we are here also, we're going to give away a Oculus Quest 2 because, you got to have a little fun with marketing sometimes. So stay tuned, come for the Oculus, stay for the insights, and we'll give that away right at the Q&A. So a little bit more about Netsertive. You want to take this one, Maddie?
Yeah, so we've been around for a while. The best thing I can say about us is that we've built our own proprietary technology that is specifically for multi-location businesses. So when it comes to paid digital, we've got software that optimizes it for you and your franchisees or your multi-location owners and can localize at scale. So really taking the human error, human work out of that. And leaving that side to our customer service team so that all the nitty gritty is just done automatically, which I think is amazing and a part of the reason why I came to be the dreaded supplier at Netsertive, because I truly believe in the product. We're a #1 marketing provider for a lot of national brands, mostly where we got our start was on the auto side, but have really, dug in on the franchise side and seen a lot of growth there. More recently, one of our podcasts, the Multi-Location Marketing Leader, just won a global award for insights. And I know a lot of you have actually been on my podcast, which is The Art of Franchise Marketing. So super excited to see you all here. And a couple stats we like to throw out there is that we've managed over $1 billion in ad spend, which is a whole lot of zeros. And with the technology and our clients, we're seeing about 750,000 local leads come in through their paid digital every year. So a little bit about us. And we'll just go ahead right in. Take it away, Jace.
Definitely. So we're gonna definitely have we have a lot of meat prepared for this webinar. I'm very excited about trends, franchisee pain points. I think we're in a unique position as a supplier to have so many conversations with different franchise groups and see a broad cut across the industry and hear patterns. So we want to share those with you all, and then really get into some nitty gritty on auditing and planning local marketing programs, and of course take your questions. And thanks to everyone who submitted questions as well when you signed up, because we did prep some of those answers as well. So we'll pull that together here. So franchise marketing trends in 2022. We actually talked to our strategy team And let me see here. So we talked to our strategy team and we asked them, what are you all seeing, right? Because they're talking to franchise networks, they're creating media plans and really running the campaigns. And some of the things they said was that they're uniquely seeing a lot of corporate competition in ad auctions. There's a lot of just interesting dynamics that are pretty closely related to each other, which is change, right? And there's so much going on, and obviously ad strategy going up and down with spend based on business strategies and COVID closures and statuses over the last couple of years. They're just seeing a lot more corporate dollars in some of the ad auction insights. And they see that as there's just an increased need for smart bidding and PPC automation to really keep up. And I think automation obviously is a mega trend across all segments, but specifically in digital marketing, especially with local advertising, making sure that your campaigns are set up operationally so that all of the conversions and bidding strategies and everything are set up with as much strategic automation as possible is something that is just required to be successful in 2022. Doing a lot of split tests and things, it's just leveraging automation is key. Another huge trend is local SEO. If you look at every factor of Google trends around local SEO, even funny enough, just the search traffic around local SEO and that term has gone up a lot over the last couple of years. And I'm sure that's because people are trying to see, am I maximizing my organic traffic, right? But as a trend in general, I think franchisees realize, and they're asking a lot about SEO, is my business appearing everywhere it should be? Am I showing up online? Am I owning my own backyard? I think people are realizing there's a lot of the low-hanging fruit there that they have not really formally put into a program. And that's something we'll talk more about today as well. Another big trend obviously is video. And Maddie, please jump in here at any time, but video is obviously TikTok just took over social media in the last couple of years, and we're definitely seeing YouTube and Instagram even more focused on that short form, quick hit video. And Netsertive does a lot of video advertising both on YouTube and connected TV, and just the power of video to engage people is only going to continue to expand in the next couple of years. So having a video strategy as a franchise brand is something that should definitely be on your radar. Maddie, is there anything else you wanted to say about any of those?
Yeah, for video for sure, is that when I was on the franchisor side, I used to dread this whole campaign because when it comes to video, it just has a lot of price tags around it, especially, are you going to go regional? Are you going to go national? What's coming out of the brand fund? What's coming out of, owners? And I would have to go to each separate platform, whether it was YouTube, Hulu, or, local cable, and then dealing with all the different vendors, trying to get pricing, can you geo-target? What are the parameters around it? And for many years, it was just do a whole bunch of work, and it was so expensive, and franchisees would push back, and then you try to get the bigger franchisees to buy in and do a test, and then, well, it's not my area, blah, blah, blah. You guys all know those things. Well, what's happening now is I think people were realizing it, and especially during the pandemic when advertising was pulled back, they needed different options. They needed more affordable options. So now, there are programs that, Netsertive runs one, but not just us, but that you can, get the placements, you can get the spots, and they're very, very cost effective, especially on a franchisee level now. We're not talking 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000. We're talking, pennies compared to that, which I think is very appealing for your franchise network, but also from the franchisor standpoint, we want to dip our toe in and show me impressions, show me clicks, show me conversions. So we can definitely talk more about that. So where the lift is now becoming the creative instead of the cost and placement buying, which I think is more ideal for franchise brands rather than the other way around.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming easier and easier to access a really targeted audience. Final trend, which might seem obvious, but it's just, I think people have been talking about being data driven for years and years and years. But then now as everyone's growing more data savvy and fluent in, data analysis, they're realizing just how much of a gap they have to go, to really be able to have accurate marketing program data across their network with a roll up to, home office views. And they're realizing that there's a lot of inconsistency. There's a lot of, just, a need to really centralize reporting and the way campaigns are done, so that there's more visibility into programs and more visibility into conversions and revenue and what drove success. So we're definitely seeing a lot of broader data strategy conversations, which is really interesting as well.
Hold on, Aaron. Jason, we have a question from Tim McLean. Which ad formats perform the best without spending all of our budget? Obviously, you've got banners and box, and those can be very expensive. We'll get into this a little bit more, but just to answer the question, I think the most important, especially for your locations, is going to be the Google search, and then it's also going to be your social spend. I think after that, the tiers kind of come down to video placements, if you're gonna do like YouTube or cable or something, and then it would be banner ads. I think banners tend to be more brand awareness, and they're very specifically placed. So you want to be where people are all the time, and that's social media, not a specific landing page. And then you also want to show up when people are searching to buy. So definitely the most ad formats that perform the best would be social and search. And then you can target and tweak and have, small budgets to big budgets. And they can vary based on, what your goals are. So I would definitely recommend local spend there.
Yeah, and I'll have our display team follow up, and we'll follow up with you on that question. But I think even just the idea of which ad formats perform the best, I think it speaks to the need of that data and optimization, because we actually have one franchise network that we work with where their in-market display retargeting campaign is one of the biggest drivers of leads. Because right, you go, if you have a longer consideration sales cycle and someone's doing a lot of research, they show up on your website and then they're being retargeted, and then they're going to see the banner, right? And if you have a large purchase, high price point, and they click through on this banner and you're nurturing them through that, then those ads actually could be performing the best. But so that's what's so interesting about advertising online, is that there's 20 different factors and they could all look different. Success could look different in each network. So we'll follow up with you about that though, Tim. I see your name there, so we'll follow up. So top pain points we're hearing from franchisees. You want to take this one, Maddie?
Sure. Yeah, so spoken with a lot of different networks, from the franchisor to the franchisee level. And one of the biggest things is, a digital footprint. A lot of times there are different puzzle pieces, kind of a disconnect in terms of, I have a landing page, I have this website, I had a social media manager, now I don't have a page, now I make a page, I don't use the page, all of that nonsense that surrounds the complexities of the things that we need to have. So one of the biggest pain points is, what exactly is your digital footprint? What needs to be in it? And what do I need to do to maintain it? And also, not only that, but make sure that it's brand compliant, so that all of those pieces of your locations are working together, so it's strong individually and even stronger together. So that's one of the top pain points. And then the second one is digital advertising. I think what I say a lot is that it is rocket science. This is a very complex thing, and everyone tries to make it sound simple. They try to make it sound understandable, but this is why we're here. This is why we're learning. So what exactly do they need to do to see the results that they want to see? And then also, how does that work with a lot of these new seasonal businesses that are booming right now, especially on the home services side, for example, mosquito and tick control, depending on the region, that is super seasonal. Same thing with window washing or Christmas light hanging. So how does that compare in terms of digital advertising? Do I do it year round, just half the year? So a lot of questions surrounding that as well. And then again, your local SEO, what exactly is the difference between organic traffic and paid, which I know for us probably sounds very simple, but I actually had a franchise owner ask me the difference just 2 days ago. So, what do they need to be doing? What is on the franchisor to do in terms of meta tags and headlines and making sure the actual web page functionalities are SEO compliant? And then what do they have to do on their local side to make sure that they are supporting that so that the algorithm is continuing to push them to the top, which are all very common things. I apologize if a lot of this is repetitive, but it's repetitive for a reason. And those are the reasons that these are the main life rafts that you need to have in order to just simply compete.
Yeah, I think something we see a lot, if you think about, just sometimes it can be a merry-go-round of systems changing, and right, a franchise network is growing, so there's new people coming on board, and then partners and vendors and solutions are changing, and so it's constant change. And I think it takes a lot of franchisees that we talk to, they still just want a baseline of programs that work, and they want to understand with clear communication what's available to them and what does success look like. They didn't buy a franchise to be a marketer. Is something we hear a lot, right? There's, like we said, there's no silver bullets, only lead ones, and they just want that baseline. And then there's a small percentage that want to learn about the newest whiz bang tool or lead generator or nurture tool or something. But I think if you get that baseline, if you aim for the baseline, which is what we're about to dive into, then it's all about increasing the franchisee satisfaction and ultimately their success and your success in growing the network. So when it comes to auditing your programs to say, how can we plan for 2022? Are we thinking about the right things? We broke it up, and we actually have a Google sheet that we'll share out after the event. I'll preview it here, but it's a exhaustive audit that you can do yourself. Obviously, we'd love to be here as a resource for you and talk about, from a strategy standpoint, your priorities and how you can best arrange your program so that you're going to fix the things that are really bleeding out right now and then grow into 2022. But just breaking these up with vendor and program management, I think that kind of attacks that just swirl of change that's always happening. How do you have that on lockdown, and how are you ensuring that your franchisees have an experience that is something that they're going to be excited to tell other franchisees about? The digital footprint, like Maddie was talking about earlier, auditing search engine optimization, digital advertising, and then your data and reporting. Anything you'd want to add in about that, Maddie, or where you think about auditing programs fits into a strategy?
Yeah, so obviously had to do this many times, and it is an annoying task. It's something that you're like, I have a million things to do. I don't need to do another audit, even though I should do it. I don't want to do it. The purpose of us talking about this in terms of your digital playbook for 2022 is yeah, we want to get those big red glaring things that are happening. I think it's very easy to get lost in the complexities of what our locations are doing, what we're doing, what's new, what's been used. The truth of the matter is the framework for franchise and multi-location business success is relatively remained the same over the last few years, with the exception of COVID. But and what that means is that what's working is still working. The big major things those are all the same. So what comes in the greater success is the fine tuning and the moving of things around. So while this might seem not new, that's because that's what is still working. And in terms of this audit, these are the major things that we want you guys to look at, because like I say to a lot of franchisees, instead of looking at everything you can possibly do, just look at the big pieces. So if your traffic is low, your SEO is probably bad. If your conversions are low, relook at your, your landing pages and see, what's above the fold, the graphics, the copy. If you're not seeing a lot of paid, then, where's your ad spend going? So the purpose of this audit is to see what's red, what's yellow, what's green. Once you're all in the green, then it's how do we make those work even better? And being able to simplify that as much as possible is what's going to help not only you as a franchisor, but for your franchisees to understand that too. Really trying to just keep it as simple as possible. So not only is it scalable for you and you have everything under one bucket, but also your franchisees are looking at it going, okay, this is doable. I see where they're going.
That's great. I think we wanted to dive in here thinking about a local customer acquisition playbook. And this is an exercise, really, this is another version of an audit that you can do yourself. I think when it comes to marketing, maybe people don't understand all the channels and they don't understand analytics or dashboards, and they want to see if they can see it and they can visualize it, then that's a great starting point for conversation. And even starting with this web presence audit approach and then making that, red, yellow, green, what's working, what's not. I think it's just something that makes people feel more anchored spatially. Even, it's funny to say, but I think they feel more grounded in what they're looking at. So
also, Jason, I'll say like the audit will turn into your playbook. So it's not this big piece of paper that you're like, great, now I know that I suck at everything and I want to bury myself in a hole. It's here's what it is, and now we can take this and turn it into our to-do list.
Mm-hmm. So if you think about your website, right, these are the components of what is really going to comprise of yes, an attendee says they have to leave early. Are you recording? Yes, we will. We will definitely share the recording out after the event. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for attending. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in. But just to walk through this, so if you're a home office marketer at a franchise brand, you're stewarding that brand at both the national, international location level. It's a big responsibility. And if you think about how that brand presence gets unpacked across your website, at the top, you have corporate level program management, right? You're going to have local marketing, paid, organic, website strategies, yard signs, wraps, print, all of that. So you have to think about, how are we really supplying our franchisees with what they need? Are they having a good experience? You have that, just to use a fake brand here with a real digital strategy. So you have the location page, right? Or the location microsite. And ideally, those are corporate sponsored location pages or microsites with franchisee content updates. So the reason why is because it's much harder to control the website and control the digital presence, control your brand name. And if everyone has different URLs and websites other than yours, it's just a wasted opportunity really for owning your domain and building that website domain equity across the country, really. So you want to have those corporate sponsored pages, but still give franchisees content update permissions in an easy way. That's something we hear a lot. They want to be able to make tweaks to their website, have sections on the website where they can add their own content without it being something that takes weeks to turn around. And then in addition to that, this is really the page where you're going to be driving a lot of that local SEO. So the offsite listings, reviews, backlinks at the location level. So having that as the foundation, and then having a really effective location finder is really the start of a 2 clicks or less conversion funnel. And that's really the goal. Can someone search for a service near me and be contacting you within 2 clicks?
And what I would say too, I know you get like the heebie-jeebies when you're thinking about giving franchisees editing, but limiting that. So just think like promotions. If they're running a promotion, they can add it here. If they win a local award, they can add it here. So we're not talking about, hey, go write your own bio, but simple things so that one, they're staying updated, and two, it's not on you to do that, because that can be a nightmare. And then I would say too, being able to, like Jason said, that location finder, you would have a conversion page or ability on yourbrand.com, then probably also on the location finder, and then also on the local page. So when they're ready to go, they can go.
That's great.
Tim says, what tools can we use to provide content to our locations that's approved? There's so many platforms out there. Which do you recommend? I have had a lot of research around this. I will find the name for you right now while Jason continues, because I forget it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think if you Google distributed marketing platforms, and I mean, LucidPress is one that allows you to lock down. I think Canva is another one people use.
Brand folder. That's what I use. I love brand folder.
Brand folder. Yeah,
you can edit things in there, edit the things and print them, and have just only certain things can be edited. So I recommend brand folder. Sorry, I forgot off the top of my head. And I also cut you off, Jason, which is
that's okay.
Nothing new.
Yeah, I think that those distributed marketing, distributed content platforms are really effective. So I think let's see, I'm going to get to that other question, because I have another question about a video. So we'll get to the other question in our Q&A session. So as we're unpacking your website here and the local customer acquisition playbook, when you talk about local SEO, it really is your listings, your reviews, and then when you start to get into content beyond just the location page, and you're expanding into microsite pages or service area pages, that's when SEO gets really interesting at the local franchise level. So you have local microsites that really allow you to expand organic targeting for services and service area pages, for example. So if you have an in-home care company in Raleigh, let's say, but then you can have a service area page for Chapel Hill, which is a city near Raleigh. So if someone's searching in Chapel Hill, you can build the page such that it's going to rank higher, and it's going to start winning organically in Chapel Hill. And then you have those same kind of pages for Morrisville or Holly Springs and different places around the city. And it's, we've audited different franchise networks, and using that strategy, the competitive industries with multiple franchises in the same city, the ones that win the top 3 organic placements are ones that are winning with these local service area pages based on the city, because the near me is so important for Google. So if you can have that, the Chapel Hill in-home care, that's going to rank over Raleigh in-home care, is the punchline there.
But I will say too, is that these are very obviously time consuming. When I was with MadePro, we had 300 locations, and all, should have these to help with local SEO. The easiest thing I can say is that when you're building out the pages, they don't have to be complex. Use a template, make sure you're using keywords in the header, like home cleaning and Raleigh, Chapel Hill. And you can, I would say, outsource that, or if you have a more junior employee, that they're really just copy pasting and changing the names. if you don't have someone in-house to do that, I would just recommend hiring, a consultant on Upwork or something like that, so that they can pump them out really quickly, and it doesn't have to be this big monster that's just hanging on your back, because it is a lot of tedious work, but obviously very important for SEO.
It's great. And then obviously you have the paid campaigns and landing pages, right? And you don't want to have just your paid traffic going to a page that is not optimized for conversion. And then you also get into content. So what content am I providing at the local level and at the corporate level? So you have corporate content creation there on the left, you have local content creation on the right, and all of that is going to be factored into your ranking organically in a few ways. One, it gives you the chance to rank nationally with really great content, and then locally as well. But then also it's just an opportunity for you to be publishing new content, which is something that Google is looking for, right? They're looking for new content published, as frequently as you can, at least weekly, and showing that it's fresh, and then having the traffic arriving on that page be traffic that sticks, that does something else, that takes another action and converts in some way. So it really comes down to this, what's your digital footprint? How's your local SEO with listings, reviews, and what traffic drivers are you putting in place, either from a local SEO perspective, a campaigns perspective, and then how are you tracking that? And we have a tool that we'll share out after the webinar. And I mean, this really is a pretty dense audit, like Maddie was saying. And it breaks down by the categories that we see. And this is, well beyond, this is really pretty comprehensive of what you need to be thinking about from a strategy standpoint. The marketing committee you see there, why it matters, audit questions, select your answer. So I think there's 5 sections to this Google sheet, so you can make a copy of it and then select your answers. And I think it's a great point of conversation in your planning meetings. And then also, we're happy to jump on and just have real talk shop type meetings and let you know our thoughts, our take, where you could prioritize what's short term, long term. I don't know, Maddie, did you want to say anything else about that?
Yeah. So when we were making this audit, my biggest thing that I just kept kicking Jason in the leg was stop making it like open text answers, because no one has time for that. So the best is that, select your answer. Yes, no, need help, don't understand. I forget what the drop downs are. So that it's very digestible, and you can do it relatively quickly. I think the best is that you could rebrand this and send it to your franchisees, or send it to your new franchisees, or your established ones, or the ones that are, at risk or whatever, or all of them. And, then you can kind of get a sense of where the knowledge base is, in your franchise network as well. But this, like Jason said, should have everything that you need. And just a couple kind of metaphors that I like to say that I think helps a lot of people wrap their head around, this whole digital traffic thing. While it does seem complex, I like to say, think of your business as a toy. And if you're putting that toy in Toys R Us and telling nobody, what are the chances that a kid's going to walk in and see it and buy it, right? Now, if you're doing it and you've got billboards, you've got, TV ads and a Facebook, and all of a sudden the kids know what it is and they want it, and their parents know what it is, they're going to go directly for it. So that's a good kind of marker on why it's important to do all these things to drive traffic. Because while it might seem obvious, like, oh, I have a website. No, everyone has a website. You're competing with Walmart and Target and Amazon and multi-million and billion-dollar budgets. So the more you advocate for yourself, the more traffic you're going to get. And then the other thing I like to say is, think of marketing, this type of marketing, as an employee. So you're not just going to give an employee a computer or a backpack sprayer or, mop and say, oh, go. and expect great results. You know, you need to invest in them, set them up for success so that they can work for you. So this audit, and then turning this audit into a plan is going to help you implement that, you know, investing and the time and kind of processes it's going to take so that it can work for you and you're not constantly, you know, in the day to day and, you know, very cliche, but working on the business and not in the business. So the higher up you can get with this marketing and really digging into this audit, it will help on that level for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you, Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are going to be sending that out after. We'll send the deck out after as well. And we have some of your questions and would love to take those questions. But I think first we should give away the Oculus.
Hell yeah, we should.
The Oculus Quest 2. Have you used one of those things yet?
I haven't, because your girl has vertigo, and that just sounds like, there's too many staircases in my house. However, I know Jason has. So as a little like, you know, gift for you, while we send this out, I'll also send you a little video of Jason doing it for the first time, and it's.
No, you're not sending that video out. I do have a video of me trying an Oculus out for the first time. Swimming through the International Space Station, and I'm completely freaking out because it's so real. That's a real thing, but it will not be leaving my phone. So
No, anyways, so I think the best way to do this without being cheesy and doing a random name picker is I'll just pick a number, and then Megan, who is our host on here, will look through the list and tell us who it is. So I guess I will go with 14 because that was my basketball number. So Megan in the chat, who is 14? Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, Aaron Kratz from Zoom Drain. Oculus 2 coming your way, bud.
Boom.
You get like a virtual.
We need a sound effect. We definitely.
So cool. We gave away an Oculus 2.
All right, he's giving us a woo in the chat.
There we go. Well, we will he's got vertigo redraw rigged. Red. You are the last person that needs virtual reality. You are just all of reality all the time. So we'll get into some Q&A. And again, like we said, we'll send all of this out if you have any specific questions. You know, Jason and I are not on the sales team. We are here to inform and to market. So we're happy to just talk shop with you. You know, that is our main purpose of hosting these webinars, is that, you know, we want to educate. Yeah. So we'll get into the questions. And I know Jonathan also had a video question in the chat as well, Jason.
Yep.
So
I'll get to that because I actually have a video question here. So
okay, cool.
Franchisee buy-in. How do we get franchisees to adopt our programs? And I'll just say it was really interesting because we actually got a lot of questions from people, and they were really grouped around some of the key themes that we wanted to talk about today. So we just kind of selected some of the questions and prepped them. But if you know, please feel free to enter other questions into the Q&A. So a lot of people asked about getting franchisees to adopt programs. What do you think, Maddie?
So what I think you should do is set up a Zoom call, have their FDD with like a lighter, and if they don't do it, then it's just like, just kidding. But seriously, no. So yeah, you're constantly hounding them. Do your marketing, put your marketing spend in, so I can do all of this stuff. I think what I've seen work the best is obviously the simpler you can keep it, an explanation and what they need to do, the better. Give them minimal preferred vendor options so that they can go with them. So they're not afraid of being price gouged or this or that. It's like they joined a franchise, as you know, for a system. They've got the system. Now they need an even simpler system to implement the system. So, you know, giving them, here is your plan. Here are your vendors to choose from. You know, this is how much you should spend. And then when it comes to, you know, testing new things, get a pilot program of some of your top franchisees, because all of the franchisees want to be like the rich franchisees. So if you're getting some franchisees to opt in or test Maybe your NAF covers a pilot program with a vendor. So utilize your network influencers to do that. And then also kind of, give, I don't know if this is legal, but like give incentives for people to, coach other people. Hey, Jesse, will do something if you talk to the set of new franchisees, or maybe they'll just do it out of the kindness of their hearts, but we're all people here. But yeah, getting your top franchisees invested, bought in, and then helping the other people grow, and then holding people accountable. Have those bi-weekly calls. Here's what you need to do and by when, and if you're not going to do this by then, you're really on halt until something else happens. I know franchisees are stubborn and I know they're busy. But again, there's only so much you can do. So giving them the simplest, easiest way to do it and holding them accountable is probably your best bet.
Mm-hmm. I think also, I love this tip. I was talking to someone who's a director of demand gen at a large franchise, and she was saying with her franchisees, she works a lot on the local marketing side, and she doesn't send, or she makes videos as the primary way to communicate. So she makes 1-minute videos of everything, because they say, I don't want to read. I don't have time to read. I'm not going to read your long email. So she started making 60-second videos of really succinct things to communicate, and that has really helped people take action on things. And I think even just having programs at work people are gonna talk, the franchisees are gonna talk to each other, like you're saying, and it works really well. All right, this is a good question. Something that pops up. Anyone seeing success with LinkedIn ads?
Literally hate LinkedIn so much. I love it and I hate it. So both on the Fran Dev and the consumer side, both when I had a consulting business, when I had a nonprofit, I have tried LinkedIn ads with major budgets and small budgets, from the, put the lead in while you're in the platform to click through links. The truth is that it just doesn't convert at a reasonable cost yet. I'm sure they'll get there eventually, but for the most part, sure, it might be great for exposure. I kind of correlate LinkedIn ads to display ads because they just don't convert very well. If you are doing in-platform leads, the leads that I've personally got have been trash. So while it does seem like a pool of wonderful candidates, it's not there in terms of quality. So again, obviously any brand awareness is great. And if you've got extra budget to spend, go for it. But if you're looking for, pinpoint targeted places, you're going to want to move that budget over to Facebook, Instagram, or Google search. And yeah, I say that because, and it's the same thing for like TikTok and Pinterest, like home services. Like Pinterest is where moms with money are. I'm going to advertise on that. Fine, if you're not expecting to get anything but brand awareness out of it, but you got to think to yourself, when was the last time I went to Pinterest to buy pest control? No. Or people, TikTok's huge, I want to be on it. Yes, for brand awareness. One of the franchises I own is Men in Kilts, where the techs are literally wearing kilts when they're on ladders. Great for brand awareness, but I'm pretty sure the 16 through 25-year-olds that make up the majority of their people or their audience are not on there looking for home services. They're looking to be entertained for 8 seconds to a minute. So make sure your goals align with your budget, and put the money where the most conversion is going to come from, and then any extra is like kind of like your fun stuff. So no, LinkedIn, big advocate against it until it proves otherwise. It needs to take me on another date because the dates have been terrible.
Maddie's got a hot take on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn, come for me.
I'll say the LinkedIn average cost per lead can be $200 to $700. It's just very expensive. And I think where you can make it work is if you wanted to increase followers on your page, and you wanted to, you can do text ads and some of the other awareness ads that are much cheaper, just to get people to, target you if you're trying to look for employees, for example, or you're trying to just build your corporate LinkedIn followership, then I think that's the only use I would say for in franchising. Because even when we've done LinkedIn campaigns, or I've talked to lots of different people that have done LinkedIn for Fran Dev, and it's just not where it's at. All right, so
Should be where it's at for Fran Dev. I'm with you, people, but it's not.
all right, Maddie, I think you got another hot take coming up here on what does work well for Fran Dev.
Same thing that's always worked, always, it doesn't change. No, for the last, I don't know, decade, most of these things have really remained the same, which is a good thing and kind of a boring thing, to be honest. So you've got the your organic, your search, your website, you got to make sure you have a consumer site and a franchise development site. Make sure you've got CTAs that correlate between both, because they're probably going to go to your brand website before they go to your Fran Dev site, purely probably based on you type in the URL. So you've got that. You've got your social medias, which are now picking up, which are really great. I worked with a creative company. I think they were bought out, but it was Wheat Creative, and they did some really beautiful ads and ad copy that was actually converting in terms of click and traffic very well on social media, which I knew was relatively new on the social media side, especially for Fran Dev. But got to be where people are. So social, not so much LinkedIn, even though we tried it every year and it just never resulted. And then you've got your lead portals. What's beautiful about the lead portals is you can advertise on them as well, and you can boost yourself. That's where people are going for leads. And while I know they're not the highest quantity, what I have discovered is that there is a halo effect around being on like a Franchise Gator, which I know Eric Bell, he's on here, and he ran Franchise Gator for over a decade, and it's wonderful. Lot of traffic, but what we realized is we would turn it on and we would turn it off because our salespeople would get overwhelmed with the volume. And we realized before we even bought any advertising on that is that our traffic would drop drastically when we were not live on Franchise Gator specifically, and then other lead portals as well. So clearly people are seeing you on those kind of franchise development via franchise sites and then going there. So even if you're only on there for a small budget, I definitely recommend doing that as well. And then you can also buy, banner ads or placements. And then lastly, I would say, if you have a big push or you need like end of year leads, I have done banner ads on Forbes, Entrepreneur, franchise side. Again, those are great places for exposure, but it was, I think, $8,000 a month for a banner ad on Entrepreneur, which if you're getting 1 or 2 leads, that's great, especially if they convert, but that's a very, very high cost per lead. What we tried to establish as a cost per, what was okay for a cost per new franchisee was, we were using brokers at the time, which is typically 25,000 off the top. So if we were getting a new franchise for 25K or less, then that was good for us. Now, if you're not using brokers, that's a different story there, but kind of equating it that way. But again, long story short, you've got your website, you've got your digital ads, and you're going on the lead portals. You can do print mailers, you can buy lists, but again, those are probably not going to convert well. And if you're going to, equate your effort and time, that's where you want to push to.
Maddie, someone asked, what red flags will you encounter on social media for Fran Dev social posts?
Red flags, not sure what you mean there, if you can explain it a little bit more, but what I will say is it is very hard to creatively talk about Fran Dev and social in quick video, because not only are you promoting your brand, but you're promoting, buying it, not utilizing that service. And I always said, I've said it for years now, social media is getting to the spot where people never used to buy stuff off at Facebook and Instagram. Then it was little stuff, the little trinkets and stuff from China. And then it was kind of more mid-range. No, we're getting to washers and dryers, and maybe I'm going to hire a service, which is kind of where we are now. The next step is going to be businesses, cars, what's it called when you sell your house, not retail,
iBuying, real estate.
house, real estate. There it is. I knew it started with an R. So I think, we're moving in that direction. So I'd say red flags in terms of social media, always do a click through to a landing page. I've tried the in portal ads and terrible results as well. And then you want to be cautious with the image and the copy that you're doing. So make sure the image is reflective of your brand, not just someone there with a bag of money. You need it to reflect the service itself. And then in the copy, what I've found works is, instead of like just saying, oh, are you interested in buying a franchise, or do you like Molly made franchising opportunities available, we would actually get pretty detailed in it and say, franchise, own a business opportunities available. And then it would say, minimum investment requirement. And then it would say, say we're targeting an area. So a couple details around, the what it takes to start, so that you're immediately getting rid of the people that are like, oh, I want a mosquito service, or oh, I want to start my own business for $10. So I would say that. And then also, which is not really a red flag, but more of a really need to remind people and drill it in, is that I took a lot of psychology classes, marketing psychology classes. And the one stat that always stuck out to me that remains true is that people need to see you 7 times before they say yes. And now that's probably even more when you're talking about someone's life savings. So while social media might not be producing the most leads, it might not be producing very many leads at all, especially when you're comparing it to maybe your website or a franchise gator. They need to see you. They need to see you over and over again. So while a lot of Fran Dev marketing managers are like, I got to cut Facebook and Instagram because I'm literally not getting a lead count from it, please don't discount how important it is for the brand awareness side of things. Because they're really not going to get that brand awareness from a lead portal that has every franchise known to man, or your specific website. They're going to need to be familiarized with it, and that's where you're going to get it. And that's why I also recommend the click-through ads as the ad format, specifically because it's going to take you to another place where they're going to see you and they're going to see more about you.
We did get a follow-up, but I think we'll follow up with you, Joseph, and Gina. They're just worried about getting getting flagged by Facebook because they use a job description. I know there are rules and laws even around that, and how you can target people for different ad types. So we actually do friend dev advertising. So we'll talk to our strategy team and follow up with you about that, and see what they say.
A quick thing in case anybody else wants to know is that instead of, they're looking for job, they're looking for salary and numbers. So keep it simple, like cash to invest, 75K or more. So I'll send you an example, but don't just copy and paste. But if they do get flagged, which Made Pro used to get flagged because it had the word made in it. Like, there is no way around that. That is our name. We would have to submit a couple times for approval, but eventually they got approved. So while that is kind of a pain in the butt, just a couple clicks to get that, make sure that ad gets approved was definitely worth it. But you're not alone in that.
No, that's a good insight. How do we create engagement in the ever-changing COVID world? I think obviously this is a big question. Lots of people have been dealing with it. I think if you think about one universal piece of advice has been just the importance of Google My Business pages, which is now called Google Business Profile. And so your Google Business Profile being updated and keeping reviews going, keeping updates and promotions on that Google Business Profile is one of the best ways to it's really giving local people confidence that they know how you're going to engage with them, what they can expect if you're open or not, or curbside or whatever it is. Give them confidence around your COVID protocols and just, make it easy for them to still buy from you. And then also just continuing to think about customer marketing, nurturing, with text and email. I think with a lot of these trends around third-party cookies and data privacy, I think just we're going to see more and more around the importance of quality list building and having that first-party data that you can continue to not only target online, but have actual campaigns going out and touch points and keeping them engaged. So a couple more minutes here. Last question: average cost to create a video and a YouTube ads budget for generating 100 leads. I love this question because it's so specific. I think if you think this way when you're planning advertising, then you're actually going to be able to generate a result that that you're looking for. And so I think a great thing to do would be to check out that an ROI calculator that we have at netsertive.com/ROI calculator. It's not gated or anything. You can play with the variables all day, just right on that page. And so just speak to a couple parts of this. It's interesting. We were talking about TikTok and video earlier. I think the average cost to create a video that's professionally produced can range from 2,500 to 5K. And if you get a real production company, it's 25,000, 50,000 very quickly. But the mega trend in video is just these low budget, no budget iPhone quick take videos. So don't be afraid to use video that's self-produced, right? On just a franchisee walking around their location and talking to the camera on their phone would be probably the most effective style of video that you could use right now.
But please give them at least a how-to, like,
yeah, you got to give them
hold the
instructions.
phone this way
Yeah.
and make sure there's no noise, like set them up for success there.
Yeah, you have to know how the video is going to be used, obviously. And I think it's important to not try to make video something it's not, something that doesn't match the production values. So if you're going to produce a video talking to camera, then make it a casual, friendly video of someone just talking to camera. But then I think it really is going to depend on the bidding strategy, the conversion rate, the cost per click, all of that, as far as how much it's going to take. But we can definitely calculate that for you. And I think you could also figure that out on the ROI calculator as far as the cost of generating 100 leads. So happy to follow up with you as well, and even give you a spreadsheet with that information in it. So that was quite the marathon. Lots of good info. Someone won an Oculus. Hopefully we made their day, and hopefully you all are taking some insights away for your networks. So anything else you want to say, Maddie?
Yeah, I would just say, remember to just keep it simple. If you don't use ours, use something that's going to audit, that can show you your red light, green light, and then build from there. While it kind of sucks to say, well, what did you do last year? In franchising right now, that's typically the structure has remained the same. But look at the data. The data is going to show you what's not happening and what's happening. And you can, there's so much data, but keep it high level: clicks, traffic, conversion, cost per click, cost per lead, and really try to get your numbers nailed down there. Also, so we'll be sending out the email with the deck and the audit, and a link to either, meet with Jason or I, and it'll literally be one-on-one like this. Let's just chat about it. So obviously happy to do that as well. But thanks for joining us. Tried to make it as not boring as possible. Kinda.
I think we succeeded. This was a fun webinar. This was